Our next speaker, I have a very special place in my heart for him.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Tazz Daddy. Let me explain something to you. This man, I've not known very long, approximately 6 months. And I feel as if we've known each other all of his life, since I have to be older than him. But the words of wisdom that Tazz has to offer are things that you really need to stop and think about. Because a lot of people will say things, but have never been through the pain and the agony of being homeless, of not knowing what to do, of having the highs and the lows in your life, but still having that determination to, again, put one step in front of the other. Tazz Daddy has been known as the most dynamic young empowerment speaker and life coach in the country. He's also an internet phenom. He is the director of social media for Power 99 in Philadelphia, which is the #1 R&B station in the Philadelphia area. He is also, in one of his previous lifetimes, was actually a backup singer for Luther Vandross, and he can sing. Trust me, I heard him, he can sing. But he also has words of wisdom because of the experiences that he has gone through in his life. Common sense ain't common is probably one of the most profound statements I have ever heard in my entire life. Because how many people know educated fools? Hello. But not everybody knows somebody that has common sense. Tazz has been endorsed and mentored by probably what I would consider the world's foremost motivational speaker, and that is Mr. Les Brown. I have listened to many seminars by him, and to have an endorsement like that by this young man means something, because he says that Tazz is awesome, and I also say that Tazz Daddy is an extremely awesome person. He will transform your life. He will give you information that you know has been stuck back in that brain of yours, and you don't want to think about it, but he's going to bring it up to the front. But he's not afraid to let people know, I was here, and now I'm here, and I'm going here. And this is what you need to have behind you to help motivate you. So without saying anything further, Mr. Tazz Daddy.
Not bad. Not bad.
I'm trying.
Checks in the mail.
Okay.
How's everybody doing? All right, a couple of things I want to clean up. I sang backgrounds for Teddy Pendergrass, not Luther. I work with Luther, but I never sang backgrounds for him. I also sang backgrounds for Levert. I was the director of social media for Clear Channel. And I say was because as of Tuesday at around 10 o'clock, that just wasn't a possibility anymore. Walked into my office, sitting down, had YouTube on one computer, had my social networking on another, and I'm typing, and all of a sudden the phone rings. Let's go for the champ. Hey, Tazz, could you make it to the office? Just come on over to my office for a second. Sure, give me a few minutes. Oh, CM Punk is kicking ass. Let me go see what this is about. So I get into the office, and there's my boss, my boss's boss, and the woman I've never seen before. I found out later they call this woman the Hatchet Girl because she's from HR. It's Christmas, and I got a pink slip. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is interesting. So I asked the normal question, why? Was it something I said, something I didn't say, something I did, something I didn't do? Oh, no, Tazz, no. We're going in a different direction. Well, listen, I know I'm a hefty brother, but look, I can move here, can fake, you know, I can go in that. Well, no, we're just going in a different direction. I said, cool, can't say it wasn't fun. I get up, get ready to head back to my office, like, Tazz, wait. Gotta walk into your office so you can get your bags. So I grab my bag, put my iPad in it, put my camera in it, put my laptop in it, and I get ready to go get one of my degrees from Temple University off of the wall. Like, no, we're gonna pack all that stuff up, ship it to you. After setting record numbers, after basically creating the platform by which most stations are led for standard for social media, I was public enemy #1. I went from being Obama to Osama in less than 2 hours. And I was like, wow. But the funny thing about me is I've done a lot of things in my life, and when it comes to the radio industry, when it comes to the entertainment industry, if something happens, being fired is a norm. It happens. They say in my line of work, in this particular line of work, you don't make it unless you're fired at least 2-3 times. So I'm the most successful person in radio history at this point. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy. But here's the funny thing. Here's the really ironic thing. I have been saying to my friend Harold, I've been saying to my fiance Janae, I said, something's not right. I don't fit in with these people. What they're doing is not what I would do. Doesn't mean that they're bad people. Doesn't mean I didn't like what I was doing. It just meant that there was something inside of myself. How many times have anybody here ever had that voice inside of their head that just says, you need to be doing something? You need to be going in a different direction? Well, sometimes you have to realize that that voice is the universe, the creator, God, whatever you want to call it. And he's telling you, and after a while, he's going to just keep doing this. And then when that doesn't work, he's just going to move the obstacles out of your way, whether you like them or not. And granted, it's a little scary because before I didn't have the issue of having to be responsible for other people. I have a household, I have a family that I love very much and wouldn't trade for anything. But it's scary when all of a sudden someone just has your career like this. But I write books, I do seminars, I do podcasts, I write articles, I help other people work on their social media. So I had a plan ahead of time. Although this put everything at warp speed, I was like, But enough about that. I want to talk about something very, very important. The death of Tazz Daddy. And I know you're like, but you're breathing. Oh, no. Tazz Daddy's an idea. Anybody ever had like a superhero, somebody they looked up to as a kid, some fantasy, so I'm the only one. I just, oh, okay. Because I know a lot of y'all in this room. And when I was a kid, I was always the chubby kid, and I was the kid who always had his face in the book. And I spent a lot of my time with my grandmother after school because my mother was working 2 or 3 jobs to take care of my brother and I. And I would come home, tears streaming down my face. I mean, just typical, stereotypical, sad little fat boy. Me, yeah, me. Just imagine this with no mustache and no grays. And I'm like, Mimar. That's what I called her. I said, Mimar, boy, what is wrong with you? They keep making fun of my glasses. Well, you tell them that your mother works hard so that you can see better than them. All right? Came home the next day. What is it now? Mimar, what? They keep calling me fat. My grandmother, being the loving, caring, kind woman I know that she is, says, well, you are fat. But you go tell them that's because your mother works hard so she can feed you well. And at that point, I realized that coming home with excuses really wasn't going to get anything accomplished. And that is the greatest lesson my grandmother ever gave me. People don't want excuses, they want results. And that's what you have to deliver. But as I moved from being a child to being a teenager and I started coming up in the entertainment industry, I was more concerned with being what I thought people wanted me to be as opposed to what I actually am. I'm a person who loves Star Trek, PlayStation, good-looking women, and a nice beer. I like comic books. I like to have a good time, and I don't really care what you think about it. But society and the industry says I have to be cool, so I have to wear things that I don't really give a damn about. I have to say things that I don't necessarily believe in. I have to do something great. And I remember what happened one day. I had gone from being David Anderson to being Tazz in the matter of a meeting. I was at a table, and because I came up doing kids radio and things of that nature, the hip-hop station said, oh, no, listen, that's not cool enough. And so they sat around like an old African naming circle, and they decided on different names. They wanted to call me Teddy Bear. Ted E. Bear. But here's the cool part. Bear was going to be spelled B-A-I-R because reading's not important in hip-hop, right? It's awesome. So that one got scrapped. Then they wanted to call me Cheesesteak because I'm big and I'm from Philadelphia and someone always saw me with a cheesesteak. I kind of should have kept that one. I just thought that was kind of cool. And then a guy named Romance was walking by and they said, hey, Romance, what do you think we should call the kid? Well, he's big, he tears stuff up, and he's crazy. Let's call him Tazz. And everybody said, Tazz. And so that's how I got stuck with the name. And then I moved around a lot. Radio, you do that. I know 15 ways to pack a U-Haul. And I went to North Carolina, and I was enjoying myself. I was young, single, ready to mingle, and I met a girl. And we were dating for a while, but I was doing things in the Carolinas that they hadn't seen, but were very common in the East Coast. I was doing denim and diamonds parties, celebrity birthday parties. I was shaking and moving. I was making more money in the streets than I was at the radio station. And so wherever I would go, they'd be like, hey Tazz, hey Tazz's girl, hey Tazz, hey Tazz's girl. So one day she calls me up, she says, listen, we need to talk, come on over. So I come on over and I sit down and she's like, I can't do this anymore. I said, what? Well, what is it you can't do? Well, you're nice and you're wonderful and you're sweet, but it's like, I don't have my own identity. It's like, I'm Tazz's girl. She's like, I don't even date David. I don't date Tazz. It's like I'm dating Puff Daddy. You're Tazz Daddy. So we broke up and I became Tazz Daddy. And that's where the name came from. Where is she right now? I don't know. But I was like, I'm Tazz Daddy. And it's real cool. Now, when I was in college, two very important things happened in college for me. And neither of them had anything to do with books. First day of school, I'm in this program during the summer where I'm supposed to be partying and kicking it after high school. But I'm stuck because I got a really crappy SAT grade. Mensa student, crappy SAT grade. And a buddy of mine named Frank says, hey man, have you met the twins? And I'm like, what's the big deal? I've seen twins before. He's like, no, you ain't seen twins like these. So I walk around the corner with Frank and there's a bunch of people and everybody's talking and holding, these girls are holding court, and I meet one, I'm like, hey, how you doing? And I meet the other one, I'm like, oh. And I didn't know what to say, and for me that's a big deal because I always know what to say. And for the longest time I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get you one day. I'm gonna marry you, I'm gonna have you one day. Oh, David, you're so crazy. You're so... Bye, David. But no, I really like you. I heard you say that to like 15 other girls. Yeah, but when I say it to you, I mean it. But I did. You know, and it was funny, man, because no matter where I went, like, I could not get that girl out of my head. The second thing that happened interesting in college, and I'm going to go back to the first thing in a minute, but it's important that I tell you both so that you understand. I went to the liquor store when I was 19 years old, and they had these cards on display, and they were bad boy cards. And one of them was a picture of Puff Daddy, and it was like a baseball card, and he had on a beat-up pair of jeans and some Timberlands and a Kobe Bryant jersey, and he looked absolutely nothing like the Sean Diddy Combs you see today. It was a real interesting thing for me because every time I turned on the TV, I saw this guy, and I was just like, yo, he's killing it. And so I kept that card. I left college, lost touch with that girl, kept in touch with her sister. Her sister's my best friend. And I kept moving. I lost licenses, I lost IDs, I lost everything, but I kept that card because that card was a snapshot in time. There are different people in different cultures who believe that if you take a picture, you're taking a piece of someone's soul at that particular moment. And if you look at that picture close enough, you can see their angst, you can see their pain, you can see their passion, you can see their joy. And I saw that card and I kept it and I had it in a hermetically sealed plastic case. And when I got to a certain level in the business, I wound up talking to Puff, and I said, you know, Puff, this has happened, that has happened. He was like, man, thank you so much. If you ever need anything, name it. I said, I'm going to send you something. I need you to sign it for me. And I sent him that card. And he opened it up. He called me. He said, where the hell did you get this? I said, I've had it since my junior year of college. And he said, wow, man. He was like, this isn't even me anymore. You know, I've so outgrown that. Not just the name part, but just where I am. And I'll tell you what, getting back to that twin, if I'm honest with myself, Just David. Plain old, regular Star Trek loving, Xbox playing David. Didn't think he would ever be good enough for a girl like that. And so, as flashy as I was on the outside, I was soft and not honest and real on the inside. I wasn't in touch with who I was as a person. I didn't feel my manhood. I didn't step into my greatness yet because I didn't believe that I could. And once I decided that I was going to make the steps necessary to get out of whatever I was in, I started applying myself the right way. I started making moves that I never would have made in a million years. But I kept asking myself the question, did David make this move or did Tazz make this move? As if I'm talking about a different person. You know, what's the name? A rose by any other name would smell as sweet, but no. There's a lot of power in the name. There's a lot of power in what happens when you choose to be something that you're not. While Tazz is a part of me, it's kind of like Dumbo. Have you ever seen Dumbo? Dumbo believed for 75% of the movie that it was a magic feather that was making him fly. Had nothing to do with these big ass ears he had. It was the magic feather. And for a long time, Tazz Daddy was the magic feather. And I'm here to tell you that David Anderson is the person who wrote this book. And David Anderson lived everything in this book. And Tazz Daddy is just a character. The person on the inside decided to become a man. And that's why my hair is a little grayer. That's why I'm a little wiser. And that's why I don't freak out about being fired, because nobody controls my destiny but God and me, in that order. So much so that I found that twin and asked her to marry me, and there she sits. Whatever it is that you decide to do with your life, it is your choice. And it's not a real hard thing. You ever hear somebody say to you, it's not rocket science? It isn't. It is a choice. I am going to do this regardless. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how many times I get knocked down. I am going to keep going. I'm like Rocky Balboa. You may knock me down, but I don't get up and make 5 more movies. It's just what it is. There are more books written about Muhammad Ali than there are about Jesus Christ. I'm a Baptist minister. That is not blasphemy. That is just a statistical fact. But here's the thing that no one likes to talk about. There's about 3 books written about Floyd Mayweather, and he's undefeated. Muhammad Ali got his face rocked quite a few times. But the one thing that was great about Muhammad Ali, and what is great about being a champion, is not how much you do this. It is not about how many people you knock out. It is about the coming up, the getting past the wars that you fight in the ring. It is the wars you fight within yourself and the wars that you win that make you a champion, that tap into what makes you great. And that's why I wrote this book. I wrote this book because there was something inside of me that just kept tapping at my head, saying, this is who you need to be. This is what I made you to be. And this is what you will become if you just sit back and use the common sense that I gave you. And that's what it is. And at this point, I'm going to wrap and say thank you very much for indulging me and ask if you have any questions.
Yeah, so what's your book about? Common sense isn't common or ain't common.
Common sense ain't common. Basically, it is about taking what you're doing in your life and putting it on steroids without any of the side effects. It is about taking an idea from, oh, I'm going to do this, to actually doing it. They say that if you have 3 ideas a year, at least 3 of those ideas out of all the ideas that you have in a year would make you a multi-millionaire. But most people will never act on that because they're afraid. And it's not that they're afraid of failure, they're more afraid of success. And so I tell you to get past that, because you have this battle within yourself, because I had it, with something I call the doubt monster. It's like half Johnny Cochran, half Freddy Krueger, and it talks you out of everything. It's just like, you know what? I'm gonna get that girl. Man, she don't want you. You see them? You see the dude she just picked, the dude who picked up driving a Lexus. you on the bus. That's not gonna work. And so you're like, yeah, you know what, you're right. And he wins more battles than he loses because we fight that battle in our head first. And so I teach you how to get out of your head and into your greatness in this book. And it's about different things that have happened to me, just things that I've done as a child, things that I've done as a man, mistakes that I've made, how I got out of being homeless, from sleeping in my Jeep to getting a job that was basically created for me out of thin air. What it took for me to stop worrying so much about what people thought and what people are going to say, because they're thinking it and saying it anyway, and that's what the book's about. Just getting over yourself so that you can get on with yourself. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for the opportunity.